Okay. Okay, inshallah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam wa ashabul ajma'in wa ummahatul mu'minin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, dearest sisters. My name is Saba Altaf, and Alhamdulillah, we are now doing the third and the final session on our tafsir or extended explanation or in-depth study of Surah Ar-Rahman. And I hope that you are the same sisters who have attended last week. And I hope that you remember something from the last week. I was hoping that I can see the chat room myself, but I don't think I will be able to do that because of some technical problem. So, does anybody remember anything from last week? Anybody remember anything from last week?
No messages are here.
Yeah, go on, Rim. Is there any message?
No messages.
I tried to do my I tried to join from my phone again, but it's not working. Okay, all right. So no messages. Nobody remembers anything. Okay. Does anybody remember what is the main theme of Surah Rahman? When you're reading Surah Rahman, and we've been studying it, what is the main topic? What is the main message that comes to you? Do you remember anything? I'll give you a clue. There is a verse that keep repeating. So the main theme of this surah is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keep reminding us about.
We do have some answers now.
Okay, go on.
Okay, Sister Firdousi said to appreciate all of Allah's favors, to remind ourselves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful and most compassionate. And
That's right.
Sister
Oh, go
Shoka
on,
said
go on.
favors. And Sister Sabila said ponder and appreciate the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Sister Irfana Ahmed said Allah's favors.
Okay, okay. That's very good. The main theme, okay. You can see it on your screen. So the main theme of the surah is Allah's mercy. Okay, the whole thing is about Allah's, not just the favors, but the mercy. Yeah, of course, mercy and favors is another name of mercy as well. Each and every favor is enwrapped with Allah's mercy. And then the agenda of the surah is to make both men and jinnat realize that their denial, their arrogance towards the endless blessing of Allah. So this is the reminder. Okay, the style of the surah is different from other surahs of Quran. So what is the main thing that makes it different from the other surahs of Quran? What is it in this surah that you found it slightly different? The style, I'm talking about the style of the surah. Any idea?
Sister Irfana said Allah addresses in this surah mankind and jinn.
Yeah, very good.
And
Very good.
Sister Shofa said it's repetitive, repetition.
Excellent. Excellent. Both of you are correct. One is that this style you will not find anywhere else because this is the only surah that addresses both men and jinn who have the free will to decide their life. and who are answerable to Allah at the end. And also the main striking style of the surah is throughout the surah, there is a verse that gets repeated. So what is the wisdom of repeating something again and again? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose to repeat again and again? What do you think? Why he would repeat again and again? He can say it once. Any idea?
Yes, we do have some messages here. Um, so Sister Shofa said, remind us. Sister
Mm,
Fidusi said to emphasize and remind us. Sister Emma Khan said to remind us. Sister Aisha said emphasize. And then Sister
okay.
Fidusi said to show us the importance of Allah's blessing on us. And
Yeah.
Sister Fana, she's typing at the moment. So let's
Okay, okay. I've got the answer, what I was looking for. Jazakallah khair. One
see.
is the reminder, and the other one is to make it prominent. So the message is becoming more prominent. The more Allah is repeating anything in Quran, the higher the importance of that message is. Now, why would we repeat things? To whom? Not, sorry, to whom do we repeat things? We repeat things to people who have a style of, people who are neglecting their duties. So I gave you in the last session, I gave you the example of children. We as mothers, most of us are mothers, and we as mothers would keep repeating, have you done your wudu? Have you done your prayers? Have you done your homework? Have you cleaned your room? Have you tidied this? Whatever we have asked them to do or whatever we expect them to do, we keep on repeating to those children who don't do it. But say if your child is very punctual and very meticulous, and he or she does their work without anybody telling them, you would not repeat things. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us something and repeating again and again, that means that we generally, human beings generally, are neglectful and careless. And that is one of the reason of the wisdom of repeating. Okay, now something happened while making these slides. The sister who was making it, and she made the last one as well, but this time she complained to me. She said, I could not join the Arabic. So throughout on your screen, there will be some ayats with unjoined letters. Like here, Yoriful Mujrimun. So Mujrimun is unjoined, and Bisimahum, the Bay is not joined with Sin. So you will find. So maybe it's a good idea to go and get your Mus'haf and open the Mus'haf in front of you, and or you can listen to me and look at the ayats from your book. Sorry, from your phone. It's up to you, but it'll be good if you can see the ayats as well. Some of them, not all, are unjoined. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We're going to start from ayah 41, and we will try our very best. We have to finish today. يتو يطوفون علي no, what is this? Oh no. يعرف المجرمون بسيماهم فيؤخذوا بالنواسي والأقدام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ولمن خاف مقام ربه جنتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ذواتا أفنان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهما عينان تجريان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهما من كل فاكهة زوجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. I will not recite the whole of the surah, um, because I will recite each and every ayah while I will explain it to you, looking at the time as well, because we wasted some time this at the start. So we're going to start from from ayah 41. يعرف المجرمون بسيماهم فيؤخذوا بالنواسي والأقدام. The sinners will be recognized by their appearance, then will be seized by their forelock and feet. So the يعرف means to introduce or to know. تعرف means to introduce. So يعرف means to know something or to be known. The criminals, mujrimun, is the one who has made sin, but the sinner, when he is recognized or declared as a sinner, becomes mujrim, becomes a criminal. So the sinner only becomes criminal when he is recognized as a sinner. So now this verse tells us that the process of accountability is done, and the sinners has been recognized that they were the one who have ignored or who have disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during their time in this dunya, and they now become the criminals. So the criminals will be known by their faces. What does that mean? Some of the translation would say by the darkness of their faces, and that does not mean the color of their skin. That means the gravity on their faces, the anxiety, the fear, the fear and the seriousness on their faces would be recognized on that day, and it becomes dark. And then it says the criminals will be grabbed by their head and feet. Now, in this dunya, the animals, when they are brought for slaughtering, they are put on, their faces are put on the ground, and their feet are being tied or being held by somebody, and they get slaughtered. This is to pin them down before slaughtering. And it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving these two examples. The hair of the forelock, the forelock, or the top of their faces, the foreheads, and their feet. And it is and this is one of the explanation, is that if you decide to live like an animal in this world, then on the hereafter, Allah will treat you like an animal that you have treated in the world. Now, animals are not to have any accountability. Animals are not answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are programmed, they have done their duty, whatever reason Allah has brought them or created them to this earth, they have done their duty. They are not like humans and like jinn to be accountable and to answer how they have spent their life. So this example is, the animals were treated like human beings. Whichever way they were treated like human beings, then if human behave like animal in this world, what is the behavior of animal? Following your desires. Your restricted lifestyle of accountability. There is no accountability. There is no sense of answering anybody. There is no sense of right and wrong. They follow their instinct, they follow their desires, fulfilling their needs. And if you choose to live like that, then you will be treated like animals. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. This verse I explained last week as well, that will be repeated again and again. And the word Allah is got layers of meaning, and one can translate it that then which of the favors, the miracles, the wonders, the powers, the gifts, the blessings of your Lord would you two both deny, the jinn and the human? And this time, this verse is being, who is it addressing? This particular verse of which of the favors of your Lord will you be denying? Who is this verse is being addressing? To the people of hell, to the people of hellfire. This verse is being addressing to the people of hellfire, meaning that how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you in this in the dunya, that the time you have spent, and you totally ignored it, and you just followed your desire due to your arrogance, and you did not take responsibility of submitting to his commands. Okay, submitting to anybody's command is taking responsibility. And one of the reason of denying the accountability and the akhirah and the hereafter is people don't want to be responsible. People don't want to live according to Allah's rule. They want to follow their own rule. They want to have their own way of life. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, هَذِهِ جَهَنَّمُ الَّتِي يُكَذِّبُ بِهَا الْمُجْرِمُونَ. This is the hell that you, the guilty ones, the criminals have so denied. Okay, the word Jahannam is a Persian word that comes into Arabic. It actually has traveled from Persian to Arabic, and it actually means torture chamber. Allah says that denying his favor is same as denying the existence of where he will end up. So denying Allah's favors is actually denying Allah's accountability as well. You know, one of the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that he wants to give us, he has planned to give us the best and the hereafter. So when we deny the hereafter, then of course we deny the accountability as well. The criminals never thought that this would come. In this world, the people who deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who deny, even now, people deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone his commands. And the hereafter in our time today, the hereafter has become like, it's a culture, in a Western culture, it has become like a joke. They take it as a joke. They make jokes of hereafter. Subhanallah. Okay, so yatufuna bainaha wa baina hamimin an. This ayah is, it gives you a picture, it gives you a really gruesome picture. This small tiny little ayah has got a huge scene, a gruesome scene, and it's something that when one understands, your breathing becomes fast. You become nervous and your breathing become fast. Believe me, if you truly understand this ayah, your breathing will become fast and you will become anxious and nervous. And that's how, due to the fear and due to the worrying. It says that, but they will go round between its flame and scalding water. Yatufun has come from Toaf, and it means going round, and it also means coming back and forth. Okay. Now the people of Jahannam will, it is so hot there. So the people of Jahannam will have two points. One point will have um, boiling water, scorching boiling water, and the other point will have the fire. And it's not an ordinary fire. It's not the fire that me and you know. It's the fire of Jahannam. You cannot compare that fire with the dunya fire, and we can't even cope with dunya fire. May Allah save us from both fires. Um, these criminals are running between one point to another point, looking and finding which one is the coolest. But there aren't. None of these 2 points are the cooler. There's no cooling point anywhere. But they are running frantically from one area, from one point, hot point, to another hot point, looking if they can find, hoping that if it is cooler, the other side. And then they come back, because none of the point is cool enough to stay. So they are running between one area to another area. Whenever we hear or read in Quran, one of the etiquettes of Quran is that whenever we hear or read verses, such verses, so a verse of explaining hellfire, torture, fire, Jahannam, then we should do a small dua. And here the Prophet ﷺ used to do, Allahumma ajarna minan nar. Oh Allah, save us from that hellfire. An-nar, and the fire, not any fire. The fire is Jahannam fire. When you want to say it for your own self, and you're in your own, you're doing dua for yourself, then Allahumma ajarni minan nar. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Again, this verse is for the people of Jahannam. That this could have been, this is an added insult to the criminals in Jahannam, that you denied endless blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be obedient to him. That is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It might seem difficult, but believe me, this is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be obedient to him. وَلَمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ, especially for those who fear. The scene totally changes now. So especially for those who fear, standing before their Lord, there are two gardens. So from the gruesome scene of Jahannam, from one point of hot to another point of hot points, and these criminals running, they are dragged by their forehead, they are tied, their feet are shackled and tied. From this scene, the dramatic change comes, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that those people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who had spent their life in the dunya fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and trying their best to obey his commands, they will be standing in front of their Lord, and while they are standing in front of their Lord, they are fearful. They don't know the consequences, what will happen to us. They will get not just one garden, but two gardens. Here, Jannatan is two gardens, and Jannah actually is paradise, but it's translated as garden. Okay, there are two ways of submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is through fear, and one is through gratitude of his endless blessings. And the higher is, the best is through the gratitude of his blessings. That is the most favorable. But of course, the one who is fearful will also get the same Jannah as well. And then it says two Jannah. Okay, the two Jannah are one of the answer is, or some of the common answer in different tafsir is, that two Jannah is one for the human being and one for Jinnat. No, Allahu Alam, because they are also included in this surah. Um, Another example or another explanation of this is that it could be two levels of Jannah, because the next surah after Surah Rahman is Al-Waqi'ah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah. And in Surah Rahman, the levels of Jannah have been different, Jannah have been described, whereas in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, the different people, the levels of people have been grouped up to inhibit those Jannahs. So there could be that two Jannahs are explained for different levels with their levels. Or it could be that two Jannahs are for the two creations who are answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, Fabi, um, one needs to, for me and you, what we take today from this ayah is that one needs to have a good balance. There are people who do good, who do lots of good, okay, but they can't get away from the vice as well. They end up doing vice as well. And there are people who don't do the vice, who don't do evil things, who don't do bad things, but they don't bother about doing good as well. They are lazy and they don't bother with doing good. They're not working anything for humanity. They're just trying to avoid themselves from anything bad. There has to be a good balance, and good balance is that one should strive to get away from vice and evil, and should strive to do as much good as possible, inshallah. And may Allah make us among those who can do both. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, and of which favors and miracles and wonders of your Lord that you will deny. Okay, this particular ayah, the last two ones were for the people of Jahannam, but this particular ayah is for the person who made it to Jannah. He has made it to Jannah. See, the more they are in the paradise, the more grateful they are for what? For what they had in dunya. The more they are living in paradise, the more they are doing shukr that Allah has given us this religion and direction, and He directed us toward the right path. Subhanallah. May Allah, they will be praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving them this road, giving them the Quran, giving them the prophets, making them see the wisdom and the truth. So, okay. So, and then, okay, what did they had in, okay, I've done it. Okay. Zawata Afnan. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining the two Jannah. The two Jannah that this person will get, or the lucky ones will get, or the people who are fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will get the two Jannah. Zawata Afnan is with heavy shades, lush greenery, with full of branches and lush greenery. Human beings love greenery. They love it. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing that the Jannah will be full of greenery as well, because it's cooling to eye as well. In residential real estate, a property with mature trees and shrubs and gardens is supposed to be symbol of wealth, status, and beauty, and they're more expensive. Those homes which have beautiful gardens and lush greenery around them. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, and فِيهِمَا عَيْنَانِ تَجْرِيَانِ. Okay, عَيْنَانِ is two springs, two water springs, but تَجْرِيَانِ is both of them are falling from the top, so they are two waterfalls actually. Okay, so if you Google up and write down beautiful homes or home or image of paradise, just write that down, or say beautiful homes of the world, you will find beautiful homes, or even if the image of paradise, human image of paradise, illustration of paradise, will have water, and water which is gushing down, and water which is spring and waterfalls. So human being not only like to live in greenery, they love water, not only because they need water, but with for their, they consider it beautiful, and they consider it, it is very pleasing for human beings to have water. And if you Google up and write down beautiful gardens of the world, you know, architecture of different gardens, Muslim architecture of gardens, or European architecture of gardens, you will find waterfall and fountains and canals made around. And that is why you will also read a lot of explanation of Jannah with water and springs and rivers and waterfalls. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. And فيهما من كل فاكهة زوجان, with every kind of fruit in pairs. So we've got pair of gardens, we've got pair of waterfalls, and now we've got every kind of fruit, but in pair. There are different explanations that why they are in pair. There could be, one explanation is that there could be two different flavors. So there is similar looking fruit, but with two different flavors. And also, um, in another part of Quran, in Surah Baqarah, Allah tells us that we will enjoy the fruit of paradise and we will eat it, and we will say that, oh, this looks so much like, when we will recognize it as the fruit of the dunya. So when we will see the fruit, we will see it as the mango and the watermelon and the bananas and the grapes and the apples and whatnot, all the familiar fruits. But when we will eat it, inshallah, it won't be nowhere near the taste of this dunya. It will be totally different, and you will not be able to explain the deliciousness and the awesome flavor. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us similar looking fruit than dunya? Because human being, one of the habits of human being is that generally they don't like alien things. They would avoid. One of his sisters said, I've never tasted avocado. I said, why? It's so nice. Avocado, I love avocado. She said, because I don't know it. That's why. I said, but you must try it. So generally, human beings can be a bit reserved, I would say, bit reserved. So they've reached Jannah through this journey, tiring journey, and they've reached Jannah, subhanAllah, and they are greeted with familiar things initially. So once they taste it, only then they would realize that these are not the dunya fruit. So it's an explanation that two pairs mean that they might have similar looking fruit with two awesome flavors, one different and the other even different. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Um, okay. متكئين على فروش بطائنها من استبرق وجنى الجنتين دان. They will sit on couches upholstered with brocade, the fruit of both gardens within easy reach. You know, part of joy of any recreation and party time is the company. We love good company. Human beings are social people. So Allah has created them as social beings. They don't like isolation. Um, and And one of the beauty of the garden is not just the natural beauty that Allah has provided us, and then we work so hard. I mean, we all in UK, one of the trend is that you in summertime you have your pots and you have your flower beds with flower. Those people who do have garden, they try to have beautiful flowers, but it is even beautiful when you have your friends and family sitting there and enjoying. Even the barbecue would taste 10 times better than you doing it on your own. Okay, so Jannah is a very, very social place full of parties and full of gatherings, and it's been explained again and again, and it's been beautifully explained in this surah and in the coming surah, Waqi'ah, as well. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining outdoors. So the waterfall is outdoor, the fruits are outdoor. So people are sitting on couches and on sofas. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically explained and mentioned that fine brocade, they are upholstered with fine brocade. Because generally, when we are putting our chairs outside, we are not putting the most fine and expensive chairs that we've got. We would keep them indoors. We will put some easy, clean cushions outside. But here, the gardens of Jannah would have uh, exquisite silk and brocade cushions and couches for you to sit down. And the trees are so heavily full with fruit that their branches are bound down because of the fruit that they are carrying. So you don't, just like in dunya, you are working hard to take the fruit off the tree. You're either climbing it or you've got a long stick, even if the fruit is in your garden. Here, you are sitting on these couches with your friends and families, with these fountains and waterfalls gushing around you, and you just stretch your hand and you pick your favorite fruit. And when you taste it, it is nowhere near like dunya fruit. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, and of which of the favors of your Lord will you two deny? فِيهِنَّ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ لَمْ يَطْمِثْهُنَّ إِنسٌ قَبْلُهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ. And there will be maidens restrain their glances untouched before by man or jinn. Okay, two things. One is that be clear that Jinnat will get their type of women. Jinnat will not get human women. Okay, and female Jinnat will not get human men. They are totally different because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleasing both of them. Those who have reached his Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in other surahs, in Surah Fusilat, Allah said, I will, whatever you will get, you will be pleased. I will give you something, you will be pleased. So Jinnat will be happy with their own, and humans will be happy with their own. Okay, although they are both being addressed together, so they will both get women who have been not touched. Now, one of the beauty of women described in Islam for this dunya is her haya. Haya is modesty. Okay, and that is why Islam has put advices and commands on women to dress up modestly. We won't go into those topic because of the time. When Allah talks about spouses in paradise, He is giving us clues and hints of perfect marriage and of this dunya. And what is the perfect marriage of this dunya? That both spouses are madly in love with each other. Now, what happened that you remember those of sisters who've been married for a while, You remember the first few weeks of your marriage? Oh, the smiles giving to each other. I mean, in my time, there were no telephones to text each other, I love you and I'm missing you and this company is boring. All the oldies are sitting. We won't do this, but we would give each other a glance. Um, and there would be a natural shyness between both the spouses, and sometimes you're missing each other desperately if you're apart for a little while. So this is what madly in love is. You want to spend that time with them all the time, and there is a slight shyness between them, and you've got butterflies in your tummy when you are together, وغيره وغيره. Seems really far away, that feeling. um, and then what happened? The children comes in and they take over, and oh my God, all of you sisters who have little children, the life is revolving and work, and the husband is going to work, and the wife is stuck with the children. I won't go into fine details. You all know. Then children grow up, and there are new problems. There's school, وغيره وغيره وغيره. And husband and wife are still in love. I'm talking about those families who call themselves bliss and who are happy. They are still in love, but they are so busy in their life, they hardly get time to even talk to each other, let alone give these, sexy glances to each other and texting each other. I don't know. There must be some lucky ones who still have kept that. In Jannah, this is all the time, never mind how long you've been living. And there won't be nappy changing, and there won't be sleepless nights. Um, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving that hint to both Jinnat and to human being, that your spouses in Jannah will be, and you will be in love. And in the next surah, it will say that they will be heavily in love with their spouses all the time. So the climax has been built: the tree, the waterfall, the fruit, the beautiful spouses whose shyness is highlighted. Um, Now, there is a question that a lot of people ask. It's been described what men will get. That these beautiful maidens and their wives, they will get that. It's been described. But what will women get? Now, there are lots of explanation, and I look at the time, and I'll be very quick. I won't go into fine details, but one is that Islam has a very different approach towards women than many other religions. Islam honors the woman, and it is not just lip service to the women. Islam honor. If Islam has put any restriction that the world see it as a restriction, it is not a restriction. It is a blessing in disguise. We won't go into details for that, but it is highly bad manners to announce and declare and to share the intimate desire of a woman. It is not a good thing. It is not a good manner, you know. And Islam would keep that honor of a woman, that Allah would not explicitly describe what type of man she will get. As I said, there are lots of explanation. Aman Ali Khan's explanation is different. Dr. Israr Ahmad's explanation is different. I won't go into detail. I've only picked what I think was very close to many explanations. The majority is that Islam is, Noman Ali Khan's explanation is that, one of his explanation is that women like mystery, and they don't like to be things spelled out. You don't have to agree with him. You can say, oh, no, no, I like what I like to know exactly. There are different explanations. What I chose for tonight is the honor of a woman. course, my inner desires, I would not want anybody to know. Anybody to know. It's a secret to me. Okay. So this is what is honoring the women. Allah has said, I will make you happy, and that should be enough for both men and women. However, men have been created with different desires. And this is all, the whole thing is for reproduction. Um, so men are being created with different desires, and they have to be spelled out what they're going to get. And that is another thing we will describe very quickly. Okay. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Okay, now this verse on your screen is totally unjoined. كَأَنَّهُنَّ الْيَاقُوتُ وَالْمَرْجَانُ. They will be like rubies and brilliant pearls. The spouses will not only be extremely shy, but of very value. You know, nobody will take their spouses for granted. And we do take our spouses for granted. You know, we take sometimes we take our husbands for granted, and husbands take wives for granted as well. But in Jannah, your spouses will be of so much value to you. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Okay, these verses are totally unjoined, which I am very sorry. هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان. This is a rhetorical question that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put. Is the reward for good be anything but good? You know, the people who strive to please Allah in this dunya will get the reward, of course. So the reward of good is reward. Ihsan, here in this verse, ihsan means reward. The actual meaning of ihsan, I should have asked you these questions, but I'm looking at the time. The actual meaning of ihsan is that you believe that Allah is, you are looking at Allah while you're doing, if you cannot manage that, then you believe that Allah is watching you at all times. And when we believe that Allah is watching us at all times, then we force ourselves to restrict our desires of doing anything sinful. We try our best. You know, in Ramadan, we are so good because the ihsan level is up high. Okay, when we've done Umrah or Hajj, the ihsan level is so high. We are so goody two shoes we are. But slowly, so when we are in a bad company, the ihsan levels go down. So generally, ihsan is also translated as reward. So when we are doing good things in this world, then Allah expect us to get the best in the hereafter. Why we won't get anything less? No, so we get the best, and that's why we should always ask for the best as well. Ask for the Jannah al-Firdaus. And فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking now another set of two gardens. So two gardens has been explained, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about two more gardens. I might take a couple of extra minutes, which I will really would apologize. I normally try to make it on time, but this is slightly more than that. If you're happy, we can do that because this is supposed to be our last session. I'm not available from when the school holidays start. So please, if you have time, which I hope you do, carry on listening, inshallah. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about two more Jannah. And as I said, that the next surah Waqi'ah, when you read and understand the next surah Waqi'ah, you would understand all these Jannah. These Jannah are the inhabitants of the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has grouped in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, the good, the good, the bad, the very good, the VVIP and all that. So this Jannah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now talking, the two Jannah, is the VVIP Jannah. Okay. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ مُدْهَامَّتَانِ, both of deepest green. So the last two Jannah, the last two gardens were lush green. These two gardens are even deep green, telling people in the hot desert about the cool and lush gardens and the cool and lush greenery is, you will not understand. Ask people in hot climates and dry hot climates. The greenery is so lush that barely any light comes through. In the other Jannah, the description also begins with the greenery, but this is even greener. فبأي نضاختان, with a pair of gushing springs. Okay. The last ones were water springs. Okay. This is gushing down springs. This is not just a waterfall. This is gushing down with very heavy gushing down water. Nadakhatan. Two, not one, two. All this is in Arabic. Those of you who know Arabic, in Arabic, there is a singular and then there is a plural, like normal language, but then in between is a plural of two, and the wordings would be changed. So those people who know it, as soon as you read that, you would know we're talking about two, 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 two. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. فيهما فاكهة والنخل والنخل والرمان, with fruits, date palms, and pomegranate. Okay, in the previous passage, all kinds of fruits are mentioned. See, all kinds of fruits were mentioned. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is specifically pointing some fruits. So Allah is highlighting some of the specific kind of fruits. What are they? There are two fruits that Allah has highlighted. Dates palm, that is the dates, and the pomegranate. And they're both fruits of Jannah. Okay. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا. This is just showing the description of the Jannah. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. فِيهِنَّ خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ. There are good-natured and beautiful maidens. Okay, the word khair in Arabic is used for inwardly good and not outwardly good. Khair is inwardly good. These spouses will be inwardly good. And the conversation is about their character, okay, not their beauty, not just their beauty. In the previous passage, shyness was highlighted, wasn't it? And the shyness is part of goodness. In this ayah, is a more comprehensive description of all kind of goodness. Hisan is good on the inside and outside. So khair is good inside, and hisan is good both inside and outside. So beauty is relative, and your spouse will be perfect for you in every way, which is impossible in this world. It is not possible to have such a perfect spouse. So the spouse is not only beautiful or handsome from outside, he or she is, here it is only she explained, and I told you why, what is the wisdom behind, but he as well. So inside beautiful and outside beautiful. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. حور مقصورات fil khiyam, dark-eyed, sheltered in pavilion. Okay, this is the first time the noun is used. Previously, it was only adjective, which refers to women who have a brilliant, attractive eyes. Okay, now the word hur has been taken for, it's been explained as wives. Hur, you can call them wives as well. But the word hur, the actual word, it's been translated as wives as well. But the actual word hur, in many parts of Quran, is those female who are maidens in Jannah, but who are this, how do you call it? They are at our service. Okay, they are there, they are servants of Jannah. And in the next surah, the young men will also, the young boys will also be, the teenage boys will also be explained, that they will be running around giving the drinks. And then Huran, the Hur with their beautiful eyes, and again they have shy eyes, and their eyes have been explained. Who are these Hur? These Hurs are not human, and Allah will only give human beings to human beings. Okay, these hurs are created to serve the men and women of Jannah. Okay, these hurs will be at our service. They will not be living as wives. They will not be giving the sexual pleasure to other human beings, i.e., men, which is so wrongly translated and imagined by so many people, that so many will get so many hurs. They are there for our convenience. They are there to work for us. Things will be done for us. Like the angels are constantly working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so the hur and these other young men and they will be young, because youth is loved by human beings. You go in an aeroplane, do you get old, wrinkly ladies serving you and men with gray hair serving you? No, they are young, good-looking, fit men and good-looking, fit women, aren't they? So human beings love to be served, and the waiters in the restaurants, they are all young, fit-looking, alert people, full of etiquettes. They try to be. So you can imagine then the service in Jannah. It should be better than anything in this world. Why we are confusing that? These creations are only created for us, for the deserving men and women of this world. The wives will all be human beings, whether it'll be their own wives in this world. I pray that my husband is my husband in this world. But then if they are not, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fit them with the right people, inshallah. And it's explained that they are in khiyam. Khiyam means pavilions or tents. It just shows the pleasure and there will be tents in the gardens and in the vastness of Jannah, and these ladies will be waiting. These creatures will be waiting for us, and we will be roaming around doing picnics, and they will be providing us the picnics. They will be doing, the boys and the girls will be doing barbecues. They will be having the drinks for us. And that's why they are waiting in the tents. Sorry about the ayah, the Arabic side of the ayah. Okay, let's finish this. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ لَمْ يَطْمِثْهُنَّ إِنسٌ قَبْلَهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that untouched beforehand by any man or jinn. Now, this could be the human and the jinnat as well. This could be that, and this could be the hurs as well. This same purity offered to the first level of paradise is offered word here, chastity and purity is the standard, even with the serving girls, their purity and their chastity, their shyness of the eye. They are shy, they keep their eyes low, and they are modest. They are not vulgar. Okay, in this dunya, some of the standard of men for the female is to keep her vulgar. So the more vulgar the female is, the more demand she has. In Jannah, the more haya the female has, whether it's the human female, jinn female, or the working ladies there, working creatures, hur. The demand is the haya, the modesty. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان متكئين على متكئين على رفرف خضر وعبرة حسان. They will all sit on green cushions and fine carpets. Again, now we're again talking about parties and being together. Abqar is, Arab use this word abqar when something is from far land, out of reach, land of fairies and jinns, land of, it's so exquisite that you won't be able to find from this dunya, so it's come from somewhere else, far and away. So it shows its exotic item. This item is so exotic. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining the carpets and the cushions of the Jannah, its beauty and its exquisite and exotic, the way they are. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, and of which of the favors, miracles, wonders, powers, gifts, and blessings will you both deny? Okay. This is last but not least is Tabarakasmu Rabbika Zil Jalali wal Ikram. Blessed is the name of your Lord, full of majesty, bestowing honor. The question is, which name? I wish I could ask you a question, but we see that we are quite over our time. Allah describe a name as possessing glory and nobility. Allah begin the surah with Ar-Rahman. So the surah started with the most beneficent, the most merciful. The surah started with one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, great attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as being the most merciful. Okay. And here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concluding the surah with his attribute and name of glory and nobility. Allah is reminding us not to forget where the surah started and how it is ending. In the end of the previous surah, Allah talks about, the previous surah was Surah Al-Qamar. Allah talks about people who go to Jannah and are sitting in Allah's company. Allah mentioned his kingdom and power when mentioning those who sit next to him in the paradise. When you sit next to Allah's company, that is the ultimate point of Allah showing his mercy. But he mentioned his true mercy in Surah Ar-Rahman, which is teaching the Quran, because it is only from the teachings of the Quran that we will be able to reach our final goal, final destination. And then if there is any hope of seeing and meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is through the Quran and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sunnah. Last but not least is today's learning points. So what are today's learning points? The consequences of denying Allah's blessings and mercy. So we are the free will creatures. We know, and Allah has told us what is right and what is wrong. We should know the consequences. How can we behave that, oh, we don't know? The reward of fearing and pleasing Allah. So we got the choice of either we fear Allah and reach the goal, final destination, or we love Allah through His mercy and blessings and we show our gratitude. Both way, we will get our final goal, final destination. The reward of goodness is only goodness. So we do goodness in this world, we strive to do goodness in this world. Allah will give us nothing less than but paradise and hereafter. There is also a hadith that they are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explaining three type of people who will reach the Jannah. One is that he is fearful of the hellfire and he gets the Jannah. The other one is that he loves the Jannah and he just wants the Jannah and he gets the Jannah. And the third one is that he wants to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he cannot meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before he reached Jannah. Allah gave him Jannah and his meeting. May Allah give us the Jannatul Firdaus. May Allah give us the meeting with him together, all of us together, meet Allah and see his shining, beautiful face. May Allah give us the gardens of Jannatul Firdaus, the paradise, the highest paradise. May Allah give us, our parents, our grandparents, our children, our progeny. May Allah give them all. We all meet there we meet our great grandfathers. May Allah meet all our family there in Jannatul Firdaus. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us Jannatul Firdaus where we sit and listen to the Anbiya and their stories, the prophets, the messengers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the pleasure of sitting in the company of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm going to get all emotional here, so I'm going to take your leave. Please remember us in your du'as, and we remember you in your du'as. Have a wonderful 6 weeks off. Inshallah, we will not start straight away in September. We give mothers and wives and ladies to get settled down in the new routine. And then we will start with new projects. Stay with us when we come back from holidays. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu la ilaha illa ant. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So much thanks, Jazakumullah khair, my dear Rim, for doing it every single week for us. May Allah bless your house, your children, your spouse, and yourself. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuhu.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair so much, Sister Sabah, for preparing and delivering all these beautiful sessions, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you and your family. Ameen, Ya Rabbul Alameen. And all the sisters here who have taken time out in Allah's way. Ameen, Ya Rabbul Alameen.
Ameen, ameen.